Ha! What the hell? I'm trying to not be. Ha! You want help? I'll give you goddamn help! Goddamn part of this, take your goddamn. Take your hat.
Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of your Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for today. This one's going to be doing another discussion video for today. We're going to be going over an article from Screen Rant talking about the Walking Dead universe and why they believe that the Walking Dead should end and the brand should end in the next coming years. Now, this is a very interesting topic. Obviously, this is a very, touchy subject, of course, for Walking Dead fans because, if you're watching this, I would assume we all love The Walking Dead. If you're watching this video, I assume you love The Walking Dead, so, obviously, this is kind of a rough statement saying that The Walking Dead should end in a few years, But I wanted to talk about it because here's the thing. We've discussed our opinions on this, and we're going to delve into a few of them here, but the fact that somebody like Screen Rant, and I've seen a lot of other articles kind of come up with this, lately, is that The Walking Dead feels like it's winding down, And I remember a few days ago, I saw some comments from you guys that really stuck with me too, and it kind of, I think it was in the Q&A video that I did with you guys. A lot of people were saying like, yeah, like, there's not many Walking Dead shows on anymore, There's only, like, Daryl Dixon, Dead City, and those are short seasons, like 6 to 8 episodes each, and then that's about it. That's usually all you get all year for Walking Dead. And, sometimes you think, like, okay, maybe they're doing, like, quality over quantity, which I have to say, if you look back at The Walking Dead a few years ago, and you look back at the state of some of the spinoffs like World Beyond and Fear the Walking Dead and all this stuff, they were definitely more focused on the quantity than the quality. You know what I'm saying? So, at least nowadays, it looks like they're more focused on the quality of the spinoffs, which is good. That's really good, and I do appreciate them for that, because they lost a lot of viewers doing shows like Fear the Walking Dead and, some of these other shows. So, I do appreciate the quality over quantity thing. However, I will say this, I do think that this is starting to show that they are winding down this franchise a little bit. I do agree with that statement, and it feels like the franchise is definitely slowing down than, a few years ago when it was popping off with, World Beyond and Fear the Walking Dead and all this other stuff. It definitely feels like there's not as much going on with it, you know what I mean? And I mean, honestly, it's even gotten to a point where I can actually say that Walking Dead has not been the most popular thing in the world. There are other things that we are covering on this channel that I notice a lot of you guys are more interested in. For example, I did a poll recently, it was a couple days ago. I was like, okay, what are you guys more excited for, Dead City or Daryl Dixon, season 3? And most people said neither. Sorry. I was like, I respect it. I do respect it. I get it. I get I get the struggle. I do. And definitely with the franchise and the way that it is, I've said this before. The spin-offs individually I enjoy. Dead City, I think, is a great show that stands on its own. And Daryl Dixon, I think, is a fun show that stands on its own too, But when you look at the overall picture and you look at the grand scale of the franchise, are those shows really doing much for it right now? No, not really. They're kind of just fun standalones that you can watch and turn your brain off. That's kind of how I look at them. Whereas stuff like The Ones Who Live that aired earlier this year, that was an integral piece of the story. That was an important piece of the storytelling for the Walking Dead universe. These spin-offs right here, Daryl Dixon and Dead City, I just look at as dumb fun. Like I said, I don't look at that as a problem. That's how I look at them. As a fan of The Walking Dead, I look at Dead City and I look at Daryl Dixon as dumb fun. They're fun shows. They're good standalones. I can turn my brain off and kind of just watch them, but I don't take them too seriously. And I think that's the problem with the franchise, is that I'm not really taking the current products of the franchise too seriously. Maybe that's just a me thing, of course, but I don't think it is, because now delving into this article from Screen Rant, they're mentioning how the franchise has managed to go on ever since 2010. We're delving into 2025 and this franchise is still going on. And obviously we know that 2025 is not the last year for The Walking Dead, because there's no, resolution to these spinoffs yet. They're going to continue on. There's probably going to be a Dead City season 3. There's definitely going to be a Daryl Dixon season 4. We've reached a point where these spinoffs are going to go on for a good while. They're definitely going to go on for a good while. So with Screen Rant saying that they should end the franchise in the coming years, like I've said before, and I think this is probably what's going to happen, this franchise, at least the core story of like Rick, Daryl, Maggie, Negan, Carol, like these, you know, forefront characters that are leading these spinoffs. I feel like by the time that we arrive in 2030, which I know might sound ridiculous, by the time we arrive in 2030, those characters will finally get wrapped up. I think that's where they're going with this. They're trying to do a few more years of these characters in their own standalone stories. They're going to bring it together. They're going to bring it home into one final, you know, thing. And then that thing, whatever that is, will probably be around 2029, 2030. Yes, I know that sounds incredibly far away, but that's what I think they're going to do. And then, you know, at that point, they'll put a cap on it. You know, they'll put a cap on it. They'll end it there. And then in 2030, because I don't think that, you know, some people say, oh, I think the brand is going to end in 2030. I don't. I honestly don't think the Walking Dead brand is going away. I feel like it's like Star Wars in that way. It's like Marvel in that way. It's never going to be gone. You know what I mean? There's always going to be something about it. But the core story of like Rick, Daryl, Negan, Maggie, like these leading characters, that I think will end in a few years. Yes, I think around 2029, 2030, we'll finally get a conclusion. We'll finally get some kind of resolution with all of these characters in one place again.
Yeah, that's bull crap.
They're going to let these spinoffs play out for a few years. That's just honestly the most obvious thing in the world. And then they'll kind of reel it back in and do something major, and then that'll be kind of it. Because here's the thing. Norman Reedus is getting into his late 50s. JDM is, I think, is he 60 now? I think he's getting close to 60. If you drag this out for another 10 years, that's not going to be looking good. So I'm telling you, wrap it up in 2030 at the very least, and I even think that's too far. Honestly, I would have given them like 2 to 3 more years and then kind of wrap it up, if that. I think the franchise has definitely, you know, run its course. I think it's definitely reached its end point. And, you know, that's that. But stay tuned. I will also kind of advertise this. I have a video coming up very soon talking about the wasted potential of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. I'm going to go into why I think that show is mishandled and why I think that there is a different direction that they should have gone with it. And I have a big explanation on what I think The Ones Who Live should have been instead. So stay tuned for that video. But that's that, guys. Thank y'all for watching. Do you think The Walking Dead should wrap up here in a few years? I certainly do, especially considering the spinoffs that we have right now, especially considering what I've been hearing from your feedback and your perspective. And The Walking Dead, as interesting as it's been, I think a lot of people could agree that there are a lot of other TV shows going on right now that are a lot more interesting. Like from Yellowstone, you know, there's a new Dexter series coming out. There's, of course, you know, The Boys. There's Stranger Things. There's a lot of shows that are going on right now that are The Last of Us that are a lot more interesting than the current state of The Walking Dead. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that sees that. So let me know your thoughts down below. Post comments down below. And do you think that The Walking Dead can survive till 2030? Do you think it'll make it to that point? Or do you think that people are going to get fed up before that time and we won't quite make it to 2030? And do you think they'll get a chance to actually properly end this franchise like they should do? So that's my thoughts on it. Post your thoughts down below. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click the subscribe button to not miss any other videos of The Walking Dead. Make sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead Reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys very soon for more videos of The Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.